Welcome to another 4HO program video. In this video today, we're going to be going over specifically Unit 4 e-bikes, specifically on environmental impact. If you guys haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, like, comment, share, and without further ado, let's begin. So let's talk about carbon footprint problem. The reality. Transportation reality for cars, it produces around 4.6 tons of carbon dioxide per year, and 29% of global greenhouse gas emissions come from transportation alone. Now, how does that compare with bikes? Well, regular bikes, they produce nearly around zero emissions during use, and e-bikes, however, they have minimal emissions, and because they're electricity dependent. They rely on electricity to go around your day. The comparison is that e-bikes are actually 95% less carbon dioxide. They produce less carbon dioxide than cars per mile, and that's actually very, very useful within our day-to-day society. Here's a footprint calculator. This is a cool link. I definitely recommend this one if you guys want to take a look at your own ecological footprint. So they will give you around 10 questions to answer, and I'm just going to give you guys they're going to ask you questions about food, how much food intake you take, housing type, what kind of housing type you have. They give you a lot of questions, and then afterwards they're going to give you a sort of rough estimate calculation and some fun facts afterwards. So I'm just going to and they'll also talk about what you do in your housing, your food consumption, because that all factors in with ecological footprint, carbon dioxide. So I'm just gonna so now you're seeing we have transportation questions now. I'm just right now putting it in together here. So I'm almost there. Alright, so you can skip to view the results. You can see here that it was produce how many Earths you would need to survive like you do, and what's your personal overshoot day. It's kind of like a constellation kind of thing, what's the special day of the month or something like that. You have the land type, how much you would need for consumption category, the land type, how do you feel, and your data, how does that compare across the world. You can see that the red ones require more carbon. The red ones are bad. Those are just really where a lot of carbon footprint is being used. And you can see here city energy, what kind of solutions you would need to do within each category of your ecological footprint. So definitely recommend this if you want to calculate them and, I guess, improve your lifestyle habits. So now let's talk about manufacturing impact. Manufacturing impact, well, for regular bikes, material-wise, as we mentioned before, the frame-wise, there's steel and aluminum, and there's also rubber tires. The carbon footprint for this is around 100 to 200 kilogram carbon dioxide to manufacture, and the recyclable materials are around 75% to 80%, and this is from these materials alone. So yeah, that's very, very interesting. For e-bikes, some of the manufacturing impact that stems from with carbon dioxide is, for example, battery, from lithium mining, motor, electronics. For carbon footprint for these are around 200 to 400 kilograms to manufacture this. And the key concern is specifically on lithium mining, where we have to use habitat disruption and water usage to produce more carbon dioxide. And these are some things where carbon dioxide is going to create a detrimental impact towards the environment. Now, is it still better? It's still better. Car manufacturing is actually a bit more. It's around 17,000 kilograms of carbon dioxide. It's more than that. So it's for the usage for regular bikes and e-bikes, it's around, I would say probably around 1/9 of car manufacturing, which is much more efficient. Here's a YouTube video on Hawaii News that was talking about manufacturing impact, so this is something that you guys can take a look at as well. And shout out to, it's a news channel, so shout out to the news channel for talking about this. It's kind of really, really important too.
Welcome back to Living 808. Honolulu's bike lovers have a new home on King Street. Kelly went over to talk to the team at Bike Factory Hawaii to learn what sets this location apart.
The one-stop shop for all of your biking needs and more. Bike Factory has a brand new location, and here with all of the details is Coach Leo. Aloha.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course, thank you for having me out here because the new location, it's beautiful. So for those that don't know, can you tell us where you're at now?
So we're at the corner of King Street and Macaulay. We've been here since May, and we hope you guys can come and join us.
Yes, and so again, brand new location, but all all of the awesome products. So for those that don't know, what exactly does Bike Factory sell?
We sell, as you can see, a full array of bikes, electric bikes, pedal bikes, skateboards, all the accessories you need, every safety item you can think of. So it's a one-stop shop for everything.
And not only is it a one-stop shop, but it's the shop that you can only get some items at. Can you share about your exclusive things?
Yeah, we have.
This is like, I just gave you guys like about a minute. Here really it's talking about in general how the Bike Factory is expanding within a Honolulu location within Hawaii. So this is something that's very, very cool. And it creates a lot of convenience for it, which is very, very awesome. Now let's talk about battery environmental impact, the challenges and the solutions regarding this. So for some parts of this, while mining cobalt, lithium extraction, it damages the ecosystem, as we talked about before. It's energy intensive production, it produces a lot of energy, so there's also limited lifespan here, around 3 to 5 years. That's why we're using a lot of energy here, and that's approximately, for limited lifespan, it's around 500 to 1,000 charge cycles. Solutions to mitigate this kind of impact: well, we have recycling programs that recover around 95% of battery materials, I would say for every 3 to 5 years. Second life applications, well, we're using e-bike batteries and home energy, which is usable for home energy storage. New technology such as solid state batteries to mitigate this environmental impact as well. And there's also proper disposal of batteries to prevent toxic waste from occurring within the world or the oceans and other places. So you can notice here that we're kind of segueing into more into the field of environmental science within how batteries and other bike manufacturing and manufacturing stuff in general produce a certain impact within the environment. So that's something the key to note here. Now let's talk about long-term benefits now. So some long-term benefits if you're using a bike to produce a bike in general. Well, first off, there's urban air quality. It's less car usage, means that there's less smog and particulate matter. Healthier cities for everyone, of course, and there's, noise pollution. Well, bikes, they're nearly silent compared to cars and motorcycles that require an engine. Resource conservation as well. This is also a bigger long-term benefit as well, where you have less road wear because bikes have around 1/1000th the damage of cars. It's reduced parking spacings as well, and it has lower infrastructure costs as well. Please note that break-even points, there are break-even points as well within e-bikes as well. Specifically here, e-bike offsets manufacturing emissions after approximately at around 1,000 kilometer of use replacing car trips. So, there is some upsides here when there's manufacturing emissions within these e-bikes, and it does replace the car trips pretty well. And that stems towards the break-even point itself. Now, why an electric bike? We talked about it here, long range, easy to use, battery-powered pedal assist, it's low-impact workout, it's good for exercise as well. And to commute using these bikes, it has good suspension, good locking system, lightning, good speed, and good mile range. And it has, less cost of electricity, so it doesn't really require like engines and all those carbon footprints as you mentioned before. Here is a trip simulator. This is actually an HTML e-bike simulator that was produced. You guys remember Grind Technologies here. It goes really, really in depth here in terms of, the motor parameters, the vehicle parameters, battery controller, initial temperature. So let's say you want to use, this is like the wind, motor constant, eddy losses. We're going to use the Clyde HD25 stator rod. I don't know what that motor parameter is. Let me just take a look at that. Again, Grind Technologies has a lot of cool stuff here. And I highly recommend, if someone is interested in doing engineering, if the Kenyans are interested in doing some engineering, I would definitely recommend taking a look at Grind Technologies. It's a very, very good place to see graphs and also simulators of sorts of bikes. So anyways, you can see here, this is, I believe this is the stator rod. This is what it looks like from Grind Tech. This is the motor. This is the motor cooling that works, the motor cooling system. And you can see here that if you want to ride, right, let's just say I want to ride, right, let's right click. You can see here that as time goes on, the bike goes, you can see that there's a cursor detail, your distance, elevation, speed, battery output, and you can see the core and the shell of the bike too. Motor power is here. It's just following the trend of the graph. I'm not sure what this green one is. The green one represents speed, so the speed is going down over here and it's going back up here, so you can see the motor power is there. And now there's less motor power that's being used here compared to human. Oh, now it's going downhill power. It's going really, really fast. You can see here the vehicle parameters as well. Here there's some good coefficient and drive. This is a lot of stuff here. I think I should make a whole separate video on these simulators. I think that's a good idea. I'll think about it. But for now, that's just a good idea, like, you know, I guess something you want to take a look at for trip simulators within break-even points. Sustainability in action now. Let's talk about that right now really quick. There are two parts. We have how are we using bikes to create environmental sustainability. We have bike sharing programs that maximize the use of per bike manufactured, cargo e-bikes that replace delivery vans in cities, and there's also solar charging where cities offer solar powered e-bikes to charge these stations. Also, we have modular design where if you have easier repair, you're going to have more easier repair within these designs of those bikes, and it'll create a longer lifespan. There's going to be local manufacturing rather than regional, where you can reduce shipping emissions, and also bamboo bikes, where you can it's going to emerge sustainable alternative material, especially with frames, for carbon absorbing material. You're going to use bamboo, for example, to create a sustainable alternative to create these bikes, because you're using a carbon absorbing material, which is something that's very, very good. So here's an article about sustainability. I'll just put this on the link on the description down below. Maybe if I have the time to do so. It just really goes in depth in terms of how we can, you know, pave the way to electric bicycles, and how we can stop air pollution in, you know, the world, how we can mitigate that. Well, not stop, because we're still going to use cars these days, but how to mitigate this from, you know, spreading. And yeah, it goes really, really in depth there. Now let's talk about the last thing, how we can make a better future with this stuff, to using e-bikes specifically. So innovations, well, we have recyclable frames, which is around 100% recyclable composite materials. Green batteries as well. We have sodium-ion batteries that don't require lithium mining at all, which is something that's a good plus on the positive side. We also have regenerative systems where more efficient energy recovery will occur, and biodegradable components where tires rips from sustainable materials. So how would this work with your role? Yes, you as a person, how would this work for you guys when you want to ride your bikes, when you want to create a good impact within your environment? Maintain your bike, recycle properly, choose the bikes over cars when possible, and spread awareness. I am a bike advocate lover as well, and you guys, to mitigate, I'm encouraging, you know, the public as well, when you're biking as well, and also to the Kenyans as well, and not just the Kenyans, but also to the public as well, to all the viewers watching. When you're riding your bike, you know, just feel what the bike would do. It creates a lot of good impact within the environment, both in its sustainable usage and also for health benefits, if that makes sense. So yeah. Anyways, if you guys have any questions, that's it for the video. If you guys have any questions, feedbacks, or upcoming lessons, please feel free to email us. You guys can WhatsApp or direct messages to me as well within the number provided. And when sending questions related or off related, write the question you have, send the picture associated with the diagram, and we will respond when we have the chance. Thank you guys, and take care.